Split is written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, stars James McAvoy and Anya Taylor-Joy, and it tells the story of a man called Kevin with 23 different personalities. One of these personalities kidnaps 3 girls, and the film tells the story of how these girls try to escape. Now, in recent years, the name M. Night Shyamalan has taken something of a different light to maybe back in the early 2000s. He had a great start to his film career, with hits such as The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable and Signs, but then something went wrong. He made critical and commercial failures like The Happening, Lady in the Water, The Village, and The Last Airbender. No. That didn't exist. But after 2015's The Visit, people started to think maybe this guy is back. And I'm happy to say in 2017 with Split, M. Night Shyamalan has his mojo back. But first things first, I want to talk about James McAvoy in this film. The guy is amazing. The ability to pull off so many different personalities takes considerable acting skill. He seamlessly fits into these characters. 1 second he's inhabiting one, he just seamlessly goes into the other one. And one of my favourite parts of the film was the interaction between the different personalities. Factions take place in his mind, groups of the personalities gang up on other parts of the brain and the other personalities he has, and it's so interesting to see these different characters really interact, but it's incredible because they're not different characters. It is one man acting all these people, and McAvoy is utterly incredible in this film. Anya Taylor-Joy is terrific as well as Casey, the lead girl who gets kidnapped. You really get to see how smart of a character she is. She isn't just one of those horror movie characters who makes the worst decisions. She is smart, she uses her brain to solve her problems, and her interaction with James McAvoy's personalities is very interesting to see as well. The other 2 girls, however, aren't given as much character depth, they're not as well written, and frankly they're not as well acted. Most of the time it's just, deep breaths, we need to do this, and I'm so scared, we need to get out, and we have to fight this guy, and oh my god, why are there different personalities? Why is his brain messed up? It's like, deep breaths, and I'm like, shut up, please. I mean, I guess that's what it would actually be happen with all the deep breathing and shouting and everything, but in some cases, it just got a bit tedious and overacted, I feel. Anya Taylor-Joy's character is the only girl who actually is given things to do. The other 2 maybe have one thing to do, but since their characters aren't as well written, you don't care as much about their fate as you do Anya Taylor-Joy's character. The best parts of this film were when the girls were in the basement, James McAvoy was doing his thing, and it was the tight, claustrophobic thriller that we were promised. However, there are moments of the film that stray from that. For example, Kevin's psychiatrist, played by Betty Buckley, who gives a very good performance. I'll talk about her character later. They have conversations, and while it is interesting to learn through their interactions more about these different personalities, every time the tight thriller in the basement with Kevin and the girls cut from that to the psychiatrist conversation scenes, the film lost its mojo, and I desperately wanted to go back to the previous scenes where everything was so great. Another thing that slightly annoyed me were the number of flashback scenes showing Casey's past. I feel that they weren't necessary, and I'm going to tell you why. The flashback scenes are supposed to connect somewhat to the situations that she ends up in when she is fighting these different personalities, but I don't feel they connected as much as they should. Shyamalan has been criticised in his weaker films for telling and not showing, having too much exposition when he could have used a couple of images and let the audience figure out what's going on by themselves. However, I think he saw these complaints, and in some instances in the film, he could have actually explained things a bit more. That's one of my main problems with the film, is that things actually weren't explained a bit more, and there were too many loose ends. However, that's one of my only problems with the film, because I really, really enjoyed this film. However, the flashbacks just took away from the main narrative, and I felt didn't really connect to the main storyline as well as he wanted them to. Shyamalan's direction has to be praised in this film, and also the gorgeous cinematography by Roger Deakins. It looks amazing, but the direction is very tight. However, in these confined spaces, he manages to use excellent usage of wide shots, close-ups, every possible thing he has in his toolbox that he can use to bring the most out of this claustrophobic situation, and he does it expertly well. It is one of his best directed films, up there with The Sixth Sense, which is a great film that I would like to talk about one day. His use of creepy imagery and some striking visuals really help carry the film forward. If this film had been in the hands of a lesser director, the suspense and the thrills of the situation wouldn't have been as well exploited. However, this is very much a Shyamalan film. It has his signature dialogue, his visuals, his tight direction that has been lacking in his previous films. He definitely has his mojo back. He's back on the game. However, Split does have a few problems. The flashback scenes that take away from the main narrative. However, it is a very good, tight thriller with a bravura performance, a tour de force from James McAvoy, and a great performance from Anya Taylor-Joy. The two other girls weren't as strong as characters, and that's what happens to them you don't care about as much. Betty Buckley is also very good as the psychiatrist. However, some of her decision-making, I feel, wasn't the best. We learn the relationship between the psychiatrist and the different personalities, and it's very interesting to see the level of trust between her and the different personalities. She can break down the different layers of Kevin's head, and it was very interesting to see how they spoke, how she took the upper hand and she was always the superior in the room. She tried to gain control. However, at one point, I feel she misread that level of trust and she went to a place that she shouldn't have gone to and did something that I feel she shouldn't have done. And that was a decision that I think in real life that a real psychiatrist with a relationship like the one she had in the film wouldn't have made. It's also interesting to see, since she is a psychiatrist, her trying to prove Kevin's case to her fellow scholars. She has an interview at one point with a university in Paris where she is explaining the specifics of Kevin's condition, how the different personalities can actually have different physical and psychological traits, how one can be extremely strong and the other weak, one can see better and the other not see better. But the main mystery of this film, what you saw in the trailers, was the 24th personality, the beast that is about to be unleashed upon these three girls. And I think after having everything build up to this climax, that climax was a bit of a letdown. However, I forgave the slight weakness of the ending by the final twist ending, and it comes after the title of the film appears for the end of the film. There is a scene afterwards, and if you're not well versed with Shyamalan's previous films, then you're probably not going to understand this. And I think that was a risky decision taken by the director, because not as many people have seen this film that it connects to as I'm sure he would have liked. So some people will leave the theatre thinking, you know, what just happened? And I don't understand. I didn't see the film that this is referencing, so I don't get it. However, for the people who did see the film, it is a massive, big twist, and it delivers a great payoff. Go and see the film, definitely. I thoroughly recommend it. It is much, much better than most January horror films I know I've only just seen in February, but I had been wanting to see it before now. I only got the chance to see it on Sunday, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It is a much higher standard than The Happening, After Earth, and the last what? I'm sorry, I just forgot what I was saying. Anyway, so Split is a very, very good film. It is a tight thriller with some flaws, mainly narrative focused, some tonal shifts, and a climax that isn't as powerful as it should have been based on the mystery that was building up before it. However, I'm going to give Split a B+. It is very exciting to see Shyamalan with his mojo back. He has made a very good film. However, I don't think this is the peak. I really want him to go higher than this, and I think with the possible sequels that we may get from Split, we will see the best Shyamalan again. Just one quick thing. You might have noticed that my camera angle is a bit different, and I just want to show there. This is my new piece of kit. It was a birthday present from a very good friend of mine. I will put the link to his channel. We collaborate sometimes and I really appreciate this gift. It is a phone tripod which allows me to have a camera angle that is more face on. So no more, you know, hands in the camera and all of that. So that was a really, really generous gift and I sincerely thank you for that. Also, a big shout out to Aperture Editing. Thank you for making my brilliant intro. I really appreciate it. Check out that channel for some really cool edits. He has more coming soon. And I just want to thank both of you guys for supporting my channel and really helping me. Thank you so much for watching. I've had a great time talking about Split. Please leave a comment and subscribe if you want to. And until the next time, goodbye.